Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Indie Zone. My name is Kathy. We are currently following 3 appeals. They are, number 1, a civil appeal in the matter styled as Guillard versus Schofield that is working its way through the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals. That is a federal appellate case. And what that case boils down to is the appeal of a final judgment that was entered against Ms. Guillard in the District Court of Idaho, where at the end of February 2026, following a jury trial, the federal jury returned a verdict against Ms. Guillard in favor of plaintiff Schofield for $10 million in a defamation action that is related to the crimes that occurred at 1122 King Road on November 13th, 2022, which is why we've been referring to it as the Idaho 4 defamation case. The second appeal that we have been following is criminal in nature. It is the matter styled as Richard Allen versus State of Indiana, and that deals with the Delphi case, as the case has been referred to, where 2 young friends, Abby and Libby, were tragically unalived in a small Indiana town in 2017. Mr. Allen was thereafter convicted following a jury trial and is serving out his sentence pursuant to those convictions. He filed a notice of appeal that has been working its way through the appellate court system in the Court of Appeals of Indiana for over a year now. The third appeal is different because this one is before the Supreme Court of the United States. This is the final stop, if you will, for any appeal that a party can go to seek remedies. That third appeal that we have been following is Hunter versus United States. Mr. Hunter agreed to enter into a plea agreement after he was brought up on charges in a federal court in Texas, and he agreed to waive his appellate rights. However, he thereafter filed an appeal last year. It's called a petition for writ of certiorari in the Supreme Court of the United States, and the Supreme Court granted review of his matter. The 2 issues that are before the Supreme Court in Hunter versus United States are as follows. Number 1, whether defendants like Mr. Hunter or Mr. Kohberger, for that matter, who we've been covering also in the matter styled as Idaho versus Kohberger, who signs a plea agreement that includes a waiver of appeals to higher courts, whether the only permissible exceptions that could still get that party to be heard by a higher court are, number 1, a claim that there was ineffective assistance of counsel for the defendant. That's the first. The second is that the sentencing judge entered a sentence that went over and above, that exceeded the statutory maximum for whatever that crime was. For example, let's say the party who has signed that appeal waiver and has entered into a plea deal was brought up on charges for burglary, and the maximum for burglary for those charges is 5 years in a state prison, and the sentencing judge doubles the sentence to 10 years. That would be an example of exceeding the statutory maximum, and where the government does not object when the judge states at sentence that that party has a right to appeal. Those are currently the 2 exceptions to appellate waivers that are recognized across the country. Mr. Hunter's case was entertained at oral argument. That means his attorney and attorneys for the United States went before the Supreme Court, as they did on March 3rd, 2026, in a final effort to convince the justices that whatever their position was, whether it was Mr. Hunter's attorney, whether it was the government's attorney, that the court should rule according to their positions in the papers that they filed. As of today, I've checked the docket. There has been no ruling as of yet in Hunter versus United States by SCOTUS. We're going to continue to keep you posted in future episodes of the Indie Zone when that ruling comes down, because it could change the law. It could possibly add some more exceptions to when parties enter plea agreements with waiver of appellate rights that give them the right to appeal anyway, or it could maintain the status quo. Until next time, this is Kathy. Thank you for joining us here today.